Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Santa Rosa. We are a liberal religious community in Sonoma County, celebrating life, empowering people, caring for one another, and helping to build a better world. Please find your seats. I see you are. Take a centering breath. And I invite you to be present here with us today. This is the time in each service when we traditionally welcome everyone, especially the newcomers, to the service. At this point, most of us are newcomers, as many of us return to in-person services. Some of you rushed the doors 2 weeks ago, and others are just now dipping your toe into the waters of being in a larger community together again. It's a little hot. And some of you are watching from afar, but you too are still in our hearts and minds. However you happen to be here, I encourage you to find some important values of our community on the front and back of your order of service or virtually in our website. If you are truly new to UUCSR, we usually have a welcome table in the hall after the service, but today you can see Jan Hess for a name tag and getting on the newsletter sign up. Is she in here? She's in the green. She's there, in the back, right there. Make sure you see her if you're brand new to us. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your beliefs or whomever you love, you are welcome here. Today, I'd like to welcome a very special person to our chancel, our service, and our congregation for the next 2 years. Please help me in welcoming our new interim minister, Reverend Julie Brock, and her family. We're pretty excited about that. A little bit about her. Reverend Julie Brock is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist who thinks that building beloved community is the most important and necessary thing human beings do. She has spent most of her life in the city of Detroit, but is not entirely unfamiliar with the Bay Area as she attended the Star King School for the Ministry in the East Bay. Julie is most fulfilled in the presence of a good ritual, deep belly laughs, shared meals, and impromptu dance parties, all of which she hopes to share with UUCSR. She chose this congregation after a conversation with your search committee that showed her that the people of UUCSR are willing to be vulnerable in order to create deeper connection, committed to their values and to taking care of one another, and not afraid of a little whimsy. Julie is joined in Santa Rosa by her family. Her husband, Joel Batterman, is a justice researcher for the NAACP, and one would have to travel far and wide to find a better preacher's wife than he. Their 9-month-old son, Donovan, also came along. Donovan's favorite pastime is splashing in the bath. He recently saw the ocean for the first time and looks forward to upping his splash game. Julie couldn't have gotten through a baby in a pandemic without the help of her mother, who decided it was unacceptable to have the baby taken away for 2 years, so they decided to make it a multi-generational adventure. And Julie's mother, Kathy, and her stepfather, Glenn, have come to Santa Rosa too. They all look forward to getting to know everyone and are excited to be here. Let's welcome them. They're in the back there. Can you stand up, please? We will have an opportunity to welcome Rev Julie in a more formal way later in the service. Now is a good time to silence any devices that you may have, and I invite everyone to let the prelude lead us together in worship.
Good morning. Is that on? Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Lucia Milburn. I'm filling in for Judy Withy this morning, who's home ill with a cold, and it's not COVID. Our chalice lighting words are in your hymnal, number 551. I guess our chalice will be lit this morning by our own Reverend Julie. 551. I'll read the bold and you can read the italics. Earth, teach me stillness as the grasses are stilled with light.
Earth, teach me suffering as old stones suffer with memory.
Earth, teach me caring as parents who secure their young. Earth, teach me limitation as the ant which crawls on the ground.
Earth, teach me freedom as the eagle which soars in the sky.
Earth, teach me resignation as the leaves which die in the fall.
Earth, teach me regeneration as the seed which rises in the spring.
Earth, teach me to forget myself as melted snow forgets its life.
Earth, teach me to remember kindness as our ideals weep with the rain.
We good? This is the time of year that myself and many other pagans celebrate Lunasa, sometimes called Lammas. August 1st, we are halfway between summer and autumn, and farms across our northern hemisphere are collecting their first harvests of the year. For our altar today, we honor the four directions and their corresponding elements of earth, air, water, and fire, as represented in a single loaf of homemade bread. Our new tradition. Earth. The grain that was grown from the earth's fertile soil was harvested and ground into flour for this bread. We welcome the element of earth that allows us to be fed and nourished in all the ways we need. Welcome, earth. Air. The yeast in this bread pushes the dough to expand in ways that would be impossible without it, helping it to rise and grow. Take a deep breath in and imagine the aroma of all those little precious expansive bubbles. As we breathe in, expanding our lungs, and breathe out into the world we share, we remember the impact of air in our lives. Welcome, air. That one will be for me. Fire. That completely transformative force that first had its part in the making of this bread in the form of sunlight, growing the grain, and finally in the baking of the bread, heating the water, releasing the pockets of delicious smelling air wafting from the oven, and finally transforming the grain into sustenance. Fire, we welcome your ability to warm us gently by the hearth or to transform with might all that you touch. Welcome, fire. Water. Water binds the dough, enlivening all of its elements, reminding us that life is fluid and connected. Additionally, from the seas that connect our world, we share that essential seasoning of humankind, salt. We honor the water in our bodies and on our planet. Welcome, water. Finally, we recognize center, the container for which all can find connection and all are welcome. As we UUs like to say in our 7th principle, we have respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Welcome, center. Now I'd like to welcome Era up and have them bring our children forward as we sing the UU principles. The words are in your order of service. One, each person is worthwhile, to be kind in all you do. 3, let's help each other grow, 4, keep searching for the truth.
Good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to be back in the sanctuary with all of you for Time for All Ages. Although I guess I shouldn't say back because this is my first time ever being in the sanctuary for Time for All Ages. And guys, don't tell the grown-ups. I'm a little bit nervous. But today, we are honoring Lunasa, which is a celebration of the harvest and grain and all the wonderful things that come from this time of year. And I thought, what better way to celebrate our return than with a Wonder Box? It's been forever. Does anyone have a guess as to what they think is in the Wonder Box? Yo, Jake. Wonder. That's a good one. That's a little, I like that. Something, oh, we're getting abstract here. I'm digging this. Well, on the celebration of bread and harvest, Dylan might know. Dylan, do you know what's in our Wonder Box today? Bread. Dylan's mom, Erica, has made a beautiful loaf of bread. Oh, y'all, it smells so good. And alongside our bread, I have brought from my home some blackberry jam made by my partner from our local blackberries. These are... And Henry has thrown us blackberries at his house. How wonderful. Well, today we are honoring the wonderful fruits of the harvest, the things that come when we reap what we have sown, and that can come in the form of grain as bread or in delicious blackberry jam. And today what I wanted to ask all of you sitting in front of me, do any of you have a favorite, most delicious food that you've picked from your garden, that you've picked up at a farmer's market, that you've eaten right off the tree or the vine? Oh, and come on up so everyone can hear you.
Kale.
Kale. Ooh, very Sonoma County. I love it.
Peaches.
Peaches. Oh. Jake.
Blackberries.
Blackberries. Oh, how wonderful. Anyone else? Oh. Well, today in Ari, we are going to be creating an altar to all our delicious foods. Many of you have brought yummy things to eat. We didn't bring peaches, that's okay. We have delicious bread from Erica. We have a pie. We have blackberry jam. Noah has brought us some grapes and some lemon cucumbers. Oh, and some lunchbox peppers that Annika is so beautifully modeling right now. And so we will be heading off in just a moment to the RE wing to go to eat all these delicious things. When you do, we won't be running out and yelling as we normally do. I know, it's very upsetting. Instead, we will be taking our pillows and heading peacefully through the door over there. But before we do, can you guys help us remind everyone who we are? Stand up and turn around. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands.
I think we're all going to be excited. I don't have any announcements for today. I mean, it's good news and bad news, right? We're going to build that announcement page right back up soon, I'm sure. But my one announcement we'll talk about more is that there will be bread served in a very COVID-conscious way after the service, in case that tempted you. And not that front piece, though. And then I also just want to thank Lucia Milbourne for literally stepping in at the last minute this morning to help us do our service today. So that is all for the announcements, unless I'm missing anything really pressing. John.
Saturday breakfast, we were going to open up for hot meals last week, but we shut it down because of the variant. But with help from Veronica Jordan, we're working with the county and a local contractor. We're going to be offering testing and vaccinations on Saturday mornings for the next 3 or 4 weeks, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
All right. With that, I ask you to join us in singing number 21 from your hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. And please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
And join me into entering into covenant with Reverend Julie Brock, our interim minister. The words are printed in the white in your order of service, and you will read the words in italics. Covenants are agreements freely made between parties to be true to each other and to share a commitment to the common good. The covenants we make together are expressions of faith in each other, in this community, and in the principles and values we share as Unitarian Universalists. This covenant is a pledge to work together to the best of our ability and in the spirit of love, trust, and commitment to our faith. Unitarian Universalists build church and beloved community on a foundation of love and covenant. We build and learn and grow through shared ministry, religious exploration, and putting what we learn into action in our lives and in the world around us. We, the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation Santa Rosa, recognize you, Reverend Julie Brock, as our interim minister. We ask that you minister to and with us with your words and deeds, being faithful to your calling, courageous in your prophetic voice, and constant in your commitment to foster spiritual growth and beloved community. Although you have been charged with guiding the ministry of our congregation, we recognize that all of us must do the work of the congregation. Therefore, we pledge to you a free pulpit, a spirit of partnership, and the encouragement to seek out the support you need to live out your calling.
I believe you. It is with gratitude that I enter into this ministry with you. I pledge to listen with an open heart, to nurture curiosity and creativity, to act with integrity and courage, to speak truth to love, both publicly and privately. I promise, to the best of my ability, to work collaboratively with you, to encourage you to carry out your mission and to live into the vision of this congregation.
So in our service a few weeks ago, we each received a small red heart as a symbol of our commitment to hold the hearts of each one of us and our entire spiritual community with tender, loving care. So in that same spirit, we now place in your hands the heart of our beloved community to hold and care for as we journey forward together on the path of love. A community.
Congregation is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. The morning offering will be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. Today we are sharing the basket with our own Saturday breakfast. As you probably know, our faithful breakfast crew has carried on during the pandemic, handing out brown bag lunches every week. Please give as generously as you are able. During the offering, you may light a single candle to mark a personal milestone or joy or sorrow, but please wait until the ushers have passed your row to get up. And remember to social distance while you're in line. Will the ushers and the candle assistants please come forward? Join me now in saying the offering dedication. The words are in your order of service. To the work of creating beloved community within and beyond our walls, we dedicate these offerings and ourselves. I'm also your lay chaplain this morning. The Milestones book is a place where you can share your joys and sorrows and other milestones with the congregation. Before services, the Milestones book can be found on the stand outside the sanctuary door. After the service, I will be available to talk if you'd like. If you have concerns that you'd like to share at another time with a lay chaplain, you can fill out a pastoral care request and place it in the box on the table at the back of the sanctuary. Copies of this card can be found next to the box or also in the pews with the hymnals. We'll try to get back to you very quickly. These are the entries from this week. Heather Gorey writes, "My 27th birthday is tomorrow. Oh my gosh." And Tam Merle writes, "A heartfelt thank you to the officers who testified before Congress, Harry Dunn and Aquilino Gunnell of the U.S. Capitol Police, and Michael Ferrone and Daniel Hodges of the D.C. Metro Police, and to all those who defend our democracy." Someone also has written, "Welcome, Reverend Julie." And Tam and Liz also write, "Please send prayers and blessings to our dear friends Mike and Kelly Jensen in Oregon as Mike makes his final passage from this world. His years-long struggle with Lewy body dementia will soon be over. Mike is a 65-year-old man of generous heart, quiet words, and passionate love for his Kelly, their 2 daughters, and 4 grandchildren. May we hold these shared joys and sorrows in our hearts."
As is our tradition, after a few words and a ringing of the bell, we'll enter into silent meditation for about 3 minutes, after which we will come out singing Spirit of Life. The words are in your order of service. I invite you to settle your body, plant your feet firmly on the ground if you are able, and take a few deep breaths. This time is for you to meditate or pray or use in whatever way is meaningful to you. May we hold in our hearts all the words shared in our Milestones book. May we also hold all the known and unknown reasons for candles lit here on the chancel, and anything that might be weighing on your heart today. We are aware that we may gather in pain, in sorrow, in joy, in love. We hold each other here in many ways, seen and unseen. May we find comfort in this community and let that healing and peace radiate beyond these walls. May that peace flow within us and be felt through our hearts and our actions to others. Blessed be. had meant to put these pictures up during the candle lighting. Don't know if you can see them very well, but those are Lammas's past. For eons, people who lived in connection with and worked in the earth had reason to celebrate this time of the year. They put a lot of faith and work into those seeds back in the spring in hopes that this day would come. Harvesting and reaping the benefits of their careful planning was something to be celebrated indeed. Although I personally find utter magic in the process of seeds coming to fruition, when one is relying on that process to keep themselves fed through the long, cold winter, it's best to include some careful planning. Each seed is planted with the meticulous intention to ensure that when it is needed in the future, it would be forthcoming. With few exceptions, celebrations and ceremonies all over the world have an element of food being willingly and graciously shared. Be it offerings of tea or a cup of coffee. What would our welcome at UU be like without coffee at coffee hour? Be it a grand feast or the simple yet historically significant act of breaking bread with someone. These are ways in which we invite someone into our homes, our cultures, and our lives. With the invitation alone, one is extending a peace offering of sorts, having faith that that relationship has the potential to grow into something more. One definition states, the phrase to break bread with someone is to share a meaningful connection over a meal, often bringing two people together or groups who previously had been disconnected. I can't think of a better description than that for us today. We have been disconnected as a congregation. Although we tried through Zoom and neighborhood groups to keep that connection going, it's been difficult for many reasons. To keep our relationship with each other stable and feel as though we're a whole. But today we have reason to celebrate. We are gathered together once more. And although we may not agree on everything with each other over some very important topics, we know that that has never been a requirement to be a UU. We celebrate our diversity and find unity there. We respect divergent opinions and beliefs. We listen to one another with open hearts and minds. We acknowledge our shortcomings and be quick to forgive them in others. And we aspire to keep our focus on our mission of celebrating life, empowering people, caring for one another, and helping to build a better world. In case any of that didn't sound familiar, I totally plagiarized it directly from our covenant. Check your order of service for more. This is our beloved community's covenant with each other through the good times and the bad, through the hard winters and the reaping of our harvests. We find ourselves here at the turning of a page, looking at the seeds that were chosen in our past and also the seeds, choices before us. What are our intentions for ourselves as a congregation? What ways will we tend our soil to be sure to make it through the hard times that are undoubtedly again in our future? Together, may we plant seeds of love and caring for one another that we can harvest in years to come. To this hearth that has been tended by all the members and leaders of the past, we invite each other back to break bread and have a cuppa together again, divergent opinions and all. We are grateful to welcome our new interim minister to that hearth as an integral part of our beloved community. By doing so, we say we have faith in this relationship. With respect and gratitude, we welcome you, Reverend Julie, to join us in picking the seeds to be sown in our fertile, nutrient-rich soil and future together. We welcome you to the hearth of our home at UUCSR. And we welcome everyone to join us after this service as the CUPS group, that's the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, is excited to return to our tradition of breaking bread with you on this Lunasa as we have done for many years before COVID. This year we'll be offering bread with servings, with individual servings, pre-cubed. Members will be vaccinated, masked, gloved while offering you the bread on your way to the courtyard after the service. If you're gluten-free like me, that smells good, but I can't eat it. Then look for that specially marked basket. In the pagan tradition, I offer you this blessing with your bread. May you never hunger. May you never thirst. Together, may we make it so. Now we welcome some musicians up for some special music.
Before we get started, I have to acknowledge the presence of an infant here, a future choir member. And for that, we give thanks.
And anyone out there who wants to join the choir, please contact me.
Well, hello, Unitarian Universalist congregation of Santa Rosa. I don't know about you, but I have been looking forward to this moment with fond anticipation. Oh, and what a moment it is. Momentous is a word for a reason. What a significant time this is. Not only is this the moment when I'm seeing you and you are seeing me and we are covenanting to be in beloved community together, but we're doing it at a time when we are coming back from an unthinkable year and a half away from each other, trying to figure out what it means to be a church in a post-COVID world. And not only that, but we are doing it all with a brand new congregation and a brand new minister. What a time. What a time. As new and daunting as this time feels, though, our wisdom traditions, they tell us that there is a time for everything. Roger just let me know this morning that Pete Seeger wrote this song that was popularized by the Byrds in the 60s. It gives that message. You know that one. And also the poet E.E. Cummings.
There is a time for laughing, and there is a time for crying, for hoping, for despair, for peace, for longing, a time for growing and a time for dying.
And whoever it was that wrote the book of Ecclesiastes.
A time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance.
There is a time for everything. And no one knew that as well as the Celtic pagan people who created this holiday of Lammas that we're celebrating today. Like most agrarian cultures, their lives depended on doing the thing that the season called for. There is a time to reap and a time to sow. And because they knew that the ultimate importance of doing the thing that the season called for, of honoring what it was time to do when it was time to do it, they created rituals that habituated and honored what it was time to do at different times of the year. They performed these rituals with the turning of the seasons, and they called it the Wheel of the Year, so that the wheel turned and the earth spun and human beings were in harmony with nature all together. They knew that there was a time for everything. And because there's a time for everything, the cycle turned out that there were these moments during the harvest or during the planting of work, of the drumbeat of excitement and enthusiasm to keep the people moving. And they knew that there were times of rest, times of reflection, times of celebration to sit back and look at what we have grown together. And so there was this cycle that happened, times of rest and times of work and ritual to go with everything. Only there's one exception in the cycle of the year, and that exception is Lammas. That exception is the holiday, which I call the both-and holiday, because it is the holiday that is one of two big harvests. One of two big harvests. So today on Lammas, we are both celebrating the first crop, the first reaping, and we are getting ready for the work ahead when we will dig in and harvest the deep root vegetables. And I don't know if I can think of a better description of interim ministry than that. I think it is auspicious that we start our time here together today on the day of Lammas, because that is exactly what we are here to do over the next 2 years, to celebrate what has come before and to get ready to do the work for what is ahead. It is time, my friends, it is time to celebrate everything that brought this congregation, that brought this community together here today exactly as it is. This community that I saw from a distance and was willing to move my life and family across the country because I believe in the project of building this community. This community that each of these beautiful souls joining us here today and the ones that are joining us from afar agree with me that it is worthwhile because got together this morning and decided that this was worth spending our precious life force on. It is a time to celebrate everything that has brought the Unitarian Universalist congregation to this point. And I know that things that we have not come to this time of transition in a way that is as tidy or maybe feels as celebratory as we all had hoped. But the thing is, you can't have a harvest without an unearthing. You can't have a harvest without an unearthing. And institutions run by human beings are fraught with complication and imperfection. They just are. The thing is, we don't have an alternative. And even if we did have an alternative to institutions run by human beings, I don't think I would want to choose it. I don't think I would want to choose it because human capacity to be messy and imperfect and then to learn and grow and become better through that messy imperfection, as far as I know, that's unique under the sun. And isn't that what we're doing? Exploring what it means to be fully human, to know what it is that we need together, that we are building together, what I owe you and you owe me and we owe all. You can't do that if you're not messily human, making your way, doing the best that you can, harvesting what comes. And so it is a time to celebrate. And sure, it's also a time to reflect and look back. Certainly the pagans had to do that. Well, did what we do yield a crop? It better. So now is the time to reflect, to look back. What is it that has been making you who you are in the world that you want to celebrate and perpetuate? And what hasn't been working so well? We have agency, we contain multitudes, we can change things. Now is the time to do that reflection so that your next big harvest, the second and the larger of the two, when you call your settled minister in 2 years, will be bountiful and sustaining. Because the truth is, my friends, that the ministry of this congregation, it's bigger than any one person. It's not about any one person or any one group of people. The ministry of this congregation should be about doing what those Celtic pagans did centuries ago, finding that which is ultimately important, life-sustaining, nourishing, and good, and building our lives and our communities around it. I am so honored and excited to do that work with you over the next 2 years. And my friends, it is time. Amen, and blessed be. And if you'll join me, all rise in body and or spirit as you're willing and able to sing number 407 in your hymnals, Welcome Table.
Sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah! We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table. Table one of these days, hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table. Gonna sit at the table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
Oh, folks, remain standing for just a moment. And I know that it's probably too soon to actually reach out and touch each other, but if you would maybe make a gesture of openness, a gesture, and reach out energetically to the people next to you. Look at this. Look at these human beings gathered together in community. Isn't this beautiful and wonderful? Isn't this exactly what we came here for? Y'all, we got a road ahead, but we're gonna make it. Look into the eyes of your fellow congregants. Look at the beautiful sanctuary, the sacred space in which we have gathered. It's worth it. It's good. I'm excited. Go in peace. Blessed be.